श्रीशैलेश दयापात्रं धीभक्त्यादि गुणार्णवं यतीन्द्र प्रवणं वन्दे रम्य जामातरं मुनिं यन्मूलम् आश्वयुजमास्यवतारमूलं कान्तोपयन्त्र्यमिनः करुणैक सिन्धोः आसीदसत्सु गणितस्य ममापि सत्तामूलं तदेक जगदभ्युदयैकमूलं. Namaskaram. This week we are celebrating the 650th Trinakshatram of Sri Manavala Mamunikal, who was one of the most esteemed acharyas of our sampradaya. This Trinakshatram is being celebrated all over the world by many institutions and individuals, and in the same way, Vedics Foundation has organized a set of competitions for small children to know about Sri Manavala Mamunikal and his works. As a prelude to those competitions, this discourse on the uniqueness and greatness of Sri Manavala Mamunikal has been arranged. Today, we will see about the avatara of Manavala Mamunikal, about his teachings and what the main message that he wanted to convey to us was. Sriman Narayana, who resides in his eternal abode of Sri Vaikuntham, is said to be the creator, sustainer and destroyer of this world. Taittiriya Upanishad says, Yatova imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, yat prayanti abhisamvishanti, tad vijijñāsasva tad brahmeti. This verse gives the definition for what is Brahman. Brahman is defined as that or he who is the cause for the creation of this world, for the sustenance of this world and for the destruction of this world. Jagat Janmadi Karanatvam. This is the definition of Brahman, and this Brahman is referred to as Sriman Narayana. So, Bhagavan creates this world and sustains it. However, it is not enough if one just gives birth to a child. Parents do not just give birth to a child and see to it that it is fed well and it is living happily. They must also equip the child to know what is good and what is bad for itself. The child should be educated and should be shrewd enough to differentiate right from wrong. Similarly, Bhagavan does not stop with creating this world alone or giving us a body and food and shelter, etc. He also gives us a lamp in our hand using which we can know right from wrong. Shri Parashara Bhattar in his Stotram says, Hartum tamaha sad asaticha vivektum ishaha manam pradipamiva karuniko dadati. Bhagavan is karunika. He is filled with compassion. Out of that compassion, he creates this world and gives us a light. Suppose we are let into a room that is filled with darkness. We don't know what is present in the room and we are told to find our way out. We will not be able to do this. At the least, we would need a torch light in our hand. Similarly, Bhagavan, to help those samsaris who are in this world, he gave us a lamp. That lamp is the Vedas. Hartum tamaha. To dispel the darkness, this lamp called the Vedas will be useful. This darkness is not the external absence of light, which we call darkness, or the darkness that is dispelled by the sun. This darkness is that which is in our minds. It is ignorance, it is ajnanam, and it is misunderstanding. To remove all those misunderstandings and ajnanam, Bhagavan gave this lamp, luminous lamp called the Vedas. So, hartum tamaha, to get rid of the darkness of ignorance, and sad asaticha vivektum ishaha, to know right from wrong, this lamp will be useful. Suppose there are 10 objects here and I am in a dark room. What I would do is, I would show the lamp near each object, find out what it is, decide whether it is good for me or bad for me and act accordingly. Similarly, the Veda is the lamp using which I can judge whether all the objects that I encounter in my life, whether the people that I encounter in my life are good for me or bad for me. Then we naturally would go to choose for the good things and stay away from the bad ones. So for that, sad asaticha vivektum ishaha. Sat is something that is good for us, that is beneficial to us. Asat is something that is harmful to us. When I say us, I am not merely referring to this body which is made of muscles and flesh and bones, because the Vedas look at the Atma and not just the body. So when I say Sat, it is that which is good for the Atma. When we say Asat, it is that which is bad for the Atma. So the Vedas tell us what is good for me, the Atma, and what is bad for me. This is what Bhagavan gave the Vedas for, to dispel Ajnanam and so that people in this world can know right from wrong. However, the Vedas have one major drawback. They are in Sanskrit. Today, most of us don't know Sanskrit at all. Even 1,000 years ago, when Sanskrit was very prevalent and was in vogue, even then, the Sanskrit of the Vedas was still hard to understand. The Sanskrit of the Vedas is an archaic Sanskrit. It is not the one that we converse in usually. So, the meanings of the Vedas are very hard to understand. The overall or the upward meanings of the Vedas are hard to understand. Even more than that, the Vedas are called Marai in Tamil. Marai is something that is very secretive. The Vedas do not expose their inner meanings to everyone. They test us, they test our dedication, they test our interest in that subject, and then they reveal their truths. Therefore, we must be very cautious while reading the Vedas. We should be intelligent enough and shrewd enough to read in between the lines and find out what it means. So there are two drawbacks. One, it is in Sanskrit, and two, all the deep meanings are hidden in other stories or common words. So Bhagavan thought that not everybody would be adept in reading and understanding the Vedas, and so we must simplify this. We must give this to the people in a form that they can understand in. That is why he started taking avatars. We know that Bhagavan took many avatars. Bhagavata Puranam, Vishnu Puranam, etc. talk about more than 30 or 100 avatars. We have about 10 of them called Dashavatars, which are popular. Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Vamana, Nrisimha, Parashurama, Rama, Balarama, Krishna, Kalki. These 10 avatars are popular. Out of these, most of the avatars came to preach. In Bhagavata Puranam, there is a verse that says, Bhagavan does not take birth in this world just to kill demons. Bhagavan takes birth as a man to teach us how to live. Martyavatarastu iha martya shikshanam raksho vadhayaiva natu kevalam vibhoho. What he says here is, if Bhagavan wanted to just destroy demons, he is all powerful, he is omniscient, he is omnipotent. He could have stayed in his abode of Sri Vaikuntham and killed Ravana or Kumbhakarna or any Kamsa in a fraction of a second. He did not have to take birth as Rama or Krishna for that. So why he took a birth is for people to learn from him how to lead their life. Martyavatarastu iha martya shikshanam. To teach men how to live their lives, Bhagavan took birth as a man. As Rama, he taught us how we should behave with our parents, how we should behave with our friends, how we should treat our brothers, how we should treat our wife, and so on. So all these avatars are to preach by example. There are two ways to teach something. You can just preach about it, eulogize about it, or you can lead by example. Krishna Avatara mostly was based on preaching. Krishna did not live a very pious life like Rama. I am not saying Krishna did very bad things in his life. However, if we say someone is the emblem of truth, of dharma, it is Rama. Ramo Vigrahaman Dharmaha Sadhu Satyaparakramaha is a verse in Valmiki Ramayana. Therefore, Krishna wanted to teach us by preaching to us in the Bhagavad Gita. Rama wanted to teach us by leading by example. He showed us how each and every person should live. So this was the second effort that Bhagavan took. The first effort was revealing the Vedas to us. Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam, Yo Vai Vedamscha Prahinoti Tasmai, Tamhadevam Atma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Bhagavan created the world. He created the four-faced God Brahma, and immediately he preached the Vedas to Brahma. Without the Vedas, Brahma could not have created all the living beings in this world. So, Bhagavan first creates this world like parents. Next, he teaches us what we should do and how we should differentiate right from wrong, just as parents do. The only difference is, my father is only my father, or he could be the father for 2 or 3 children. Bhagavan is the father for all. He is the father for this entire world. Therefore, we should respect him. However, there are two ways that a child can respect a father in. When the child is very small, a baby or an infant, the father or mother can pick the child up, put it down near their feet and say that the child is prostrating to me. But that is not true. The child does not know what is happening at all. He is not doing it out of his own will. He is made to do something and he doesn't know what to do against it. The other way is that same child grows up, he is 25, he is 35 or he is 40 now. He has learnt everything that his parents have done for him, everything that they have sacrificed for him, and then out of love and respect, he prostrates to them every day. Now that is a mature thought. When he was an infant, the baby fell at the father's feet, at the mother's feet. However, that was an act of the mother or the father. The baby did not know what it was doing. When he is 30 or 40, the person now knows, understands what his parents have done for him, and out of love and respect, he prostrates before them. So Bhagavan too expects us to be of the second kind. This world has two types of entities. One is non-sentient entities like a block of wood or a rock or mountains, etc. The other type are sentient entities, those entities which possess knowledge like humans, plants, animals, etc. So what Bhagavan expects is, he respects our sentience. He does not think that although the Atma has knowledge, I will just pick that Atma up, put him at my feet and say that the Atma is prostrating to me. He does not want that. He is our father and our mother. So what he expects us is, this Atma should grow. This Atma should mature. He should learn more and more and more about the world and about what I have done for him, and out of love and respect, he should come prostrate before me. So this is Bhagavan's expectation, and for that he has done a lot. He first gave us the Vedas. Since the Vedas were in Sanskrit and they were not easily understandable, he took birth as Rama and Krishna and others and preached to us in different ways. However, there was still a drawback in this. Any of us would trust someone who is similar to us. Suppose I am a pauper, I am a beggar. I would trust another beggar who comes and tells me something. Suppose the Prime Minister or a great crorepati comes to me and tells something, I would not find it easy to mingle with him. I would not find him trustworthy so easily. Therefore, Bhagavan decided that he, taking incarnations again and again and preaching that he is the most superior being in this world, is not going to work. People are not going to listen to his own words that he is superior. So, he decided that there should be humans, there should be people among people who will preach about the superiority of Bhagavan. These people were known as Acharyas. Sakshan Narayano Devaha Kritva Martyamayim Tanum Magnan Uddharate Lokan Karunyat Shastrapanina. This verse says, till up to a point in time, Bhagavan took birth with weapons in his hand. Weapons are called as Shastram in Sanskrit. So till a point in time, he had weapons in his hand. After that, he decided that weapons are not going to work. We should take Shastram in our hand. Shastram refers to the texts and the books that we read. So instead of correcting someone using punishment or weapons, Bhagavan decided to take birth as great acharyas, as gurus, and teach us and correct us using the Shastrams. So this Acharya Parampara and all our gurus are in fact representatives of Bhagavan himself. So in this way, the first effort was to give the Vedas. Then he took birth himself. Then he also gave birth to many Acharyas who spoke to everyone and preached about Bhagavan's greatness. However, we should not think that this was an afterthought. So Bhagavan did not know initially that the Vedas are not going to work. So he tried giving us the Vedas. We did not respond to it properly. So next he tried taking incarnations. We did not respond to that also. They did not work. And so after a lot of thought, Bhagavan gave birth to Acharyas. This is not the case. Bhagavan knew all along what was going to work and what was not going to work. This Acharya Parampara is not something that was taken as a last resort. There are verses in the Upanishads and the Gita itself that speak about the greatness of Acharyas. The Upanishad says, Acharya Dhaiva Vidya Vidita Sadhishtam Prapat. It says, one should not just take up textbooks and read on his own and think that he has seen the end or the other shore of some vidya. He should go to a guru, he should prostrate before him, he should ask questions, he should show his interest, he should perform some service to the guru, and from the guru's compassion he should learn things. Only such a knowledge that is learned from a guru will be steadfast. Only that will stand in one's mind. Similarly, the other Veda says, Acharyastute gatim vakta. Whatever must be preached to a person about moksha, mukti or Bhagavan must be preached by an Acharya. Krishna also says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. He tells Arjuna, don't think that listening to my words, the Bhagavad Gita, is enough. After this is over, after the battle is also over, you should go to many scholars. Pranipatena, you should fall at their feet. Pariprashnena, you should stand around them and keep asking questions to show your interest. Sevaya, you should do service to them. In all these ways, if they are pleased by your activities and your behavior, they will grant you all the secret meanings that they have learned from the Vedas. So this Acharya Parampara, or prostrating or going to an Acharya or a Guru, is not something new. Today we might think that all the books are available. Earlier, the books were not available in such a popular way. Today, all books are printed, thousands of copies are printed, they are available online, they are available in bookstores. I can buy the Upanishads, I can read them, I can buy the Bhagavad Gita, I can read it, and I can understand all the meanings of this work. That is not the case. In all these works, there are hidden meanings, there are hidden truths that one can learn only from Acharyas. That is why the Acharya is said to be so important. The Upanishad says, Acharyastute gatim vakta. Even if we know about Bhagavan, the Acharya is the one who can show us the path to reach Bhagavan. We can learn about Bhagavan from many texts. However, the best path, the correct path, the suitable path which we should adopt to reach Bhagavan can be told to us, can be preached to us only by an Acharya. So, Bhagavan gave birth to this superior Acharya Parampara that we call Guru Parampara in our Sampradaya. That Guru Parampara starts with Bhagavan himself. Lakshminatha Samarambham Natha Yamuna Madhyamam Asmad Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. This is a Taniyan that we recite every day. Lakshminatha Samarambham. This Guru Parampara starts with Bhagavan himself. Lakshminathan. He is the consort of Mahalakshmi Tayar, or he is the husband of Mahalakshmi Tayar. So, Lakshminatha Samarambham Natha Yamuna Madhyamam. Natha Munihal, Alavandar, Swami Ramanuja, then Parashara Bhattar, Nanjiyar, Nambillai, Vadakka Tiruvidi Pillai, and so on up to my own Acharya. This is the whole Guru Parampara. If you take this Guru Parampara, you can divide it into many phases. There is a clear trajectory of how these Acharyas have taught and how they have gone about in their works. Initially, we saw that the problem with the Vedas was that they were in Sanskrit and they had a lot of hidden meanings. Therefore, to give that in a language that is easily understandable for people, Bhagavan gave birth to the Alvars. What the Alvars did was, they translated the Sanskrit Vedas into Tamil. Manavala Mamunikal in his Upadesha Ratnamalai says, Antamiழால் நற்கலைகள் ஆய்ந்துரைத்த ஆழ்வார்கள் இந்த உலகில் இருள் நீங்க வந்துதித்த. இந்த உலகில் இருள் நீங்க, for darkness, ignorance, to be dispelled from this world, the Alvars took birth. What did they do? How did their birth cause darkness to run away? He says, Narkalaigal Ainduraitha Alvargal. Narkalaigal refers to the four Vedas, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvana Veda. These Narkalaigal have to be translated into Tamil now. However, if it is a verbatim translation, then the second problem that we saw with the Vedas would still continue. The Vedas were in Sanskrit, Divya Prabandhams are going to be in Tamil. So that hurdle has been crossed. However, the Vedas have a lot of hidden meanings that are not easily discernible. If the Vedas are translated verbatim into Tamil, then again, the Tamil Divya Prabandhams would also have lot of hidden meanings and not very clear to the reader. Therefore, the Alvars, what they did was, Antamiral narkalegal ஆய்ந்து உரைத்த ஆழ்வார்கள். That word ஆய்ந்து is important. They analyzed the Vedas. They did not preach everything that the Vedas preach to us. They picked up things that are most relevant to us, most applicable to us, those which are attainable by us. We should not expect everyone, even if Bhagavan expects everyone to be a bhakta like Prahlada, none of us is going to get mukti at all. Therefore, the Alvars picked things or truths from the Vedas which are most applicable and relevant to us, and they preached that in Tamil. Narkalegal ஆய்ந்து உரைத்த ஆழ்வார்கள், and that too Antamiral. He did not say just Tamiral. It was not translated from Sanskrit to mere Tamil. It was translated to beautiful Tamil. So when we recite the Divya Prabandhams, the mere sound of it, the music of it gives a lot of pleasure to us. So that beauty gives a prasannata to our mind. Our mind is calm. It is clear of all doubts. It is not going hither and thither. It is concentrated on one thing, and that is achieved by the beauty of the Tamil hymns. So, Antamiral narkalegal ஆய்ந்துரைத்த ஆழ்வார்கள். The Sanskrit Vedas were first translated into Tamil by the Alvars. However, the Divya Prabandhams were also a Moola Grantha. They were an original work. They were not a commentary to the Vedas. They were also an original work that the Alvars had sung. And after that, for a long period of time, these Divya Prabandhams were not in vogue in the world. Nammalvar was born more than 5,100 years ago. Poihyalvar, Pudattalvar, Peyalvar, etc. were born even before that in Dwapara Yuga. So, in the middle for about 4,000 years, this Divya Prabandham was not available to us at all. After that, Sri Mamunikal took birth, and through him, Nammalvar gave us all the Divya Prabandhams. That is the story that we learn about the Guru Parampara at the beginning. So after Bhagavan preached to Sri Mahalakshmi Tayar. Mahalakshmi preaches to Vishwaksena. Vishwaksena preaches to Nammalvar. Nammalvar preached to Nathamunikal. From Nathamunikal, we have this Acharya Parampara. Even in that Acharya Parampara, the initial Acharyas, few Acharyas, concentrated on the Vedanta mostly. Even then, 1000 or 1200 years back, although the Tamil Divya Prabandhams were growing in popularity, Sanskrit was still ruling. The Upanishads, the Vedanta, was still the main source of information about Bhagavan. However, there were a lot of doubts and confusions about the meaning of the Upanishads. Therefore, Sri Alavandar wrote Siddhitrayam to dispel all such doubts. Swami Ramanuja expanded on that and wrote the Sri Bhashyam as the commentary to the Brahma Sutras of Vedavyasa. That also dispelled all the doubts that we had. So the initial few Acharyas concentrated on elucidating the meanings of the Vedantas, so that there is no confusion that the Vedanta tells whatever the Divya Prabandhams also say. The initial effort was the meaning of the Vedanta has to be concluded. Then it has to be shown that the Divya Prabandhams and the Vedanta talk about the same thing. So Swami Ramanuja or Alavandar did the first work of consolidating all the Vedantas and explaining them in a methodical way. After that, the next few Acharyas started writing commentaries for the Divya Prabandhams. Nanjiyar, Nambillai, Vadakku Tiruvidi Pillai, Periyavachan Pillai, all these Acharyas, they concentrated on the Divya Prabandhams because the meanings of the Divya Prabandhams also were not easy to understand now. As time progressed, just as we lost the knowledge of Sanskrit, people started losing the knowledge of Tamil also. So there were commentaries that were required to understand the meanings of the Alvars. So first the Vedas and the Vedantas were explained by Ramanuja, etc. Next, the next set of Acharyas wrote commentaries on the Divya Prabandhams. After that, Sri Pillai Lokacharya, Azhagya Manavala Perumal Nayanar, etc. wrote books to explain the meanings of the Rahasya Trayam. In this Sampradaya, Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, we hold Tirumantram, Dvayam and Charama Shlokam as three important secret mantras, the Rahasya Trayam. This is what the Acharya preaches to us when we undergo Pancha Samskaram. Tapaha, Pundraha, Tatha Nama, Mantro, Yagascha Panchamaha. These are the 5 samskaras. It is called Samashrayanam or Pancha Samskara. The first one is Tapaha. We are branded with the conch and the discus on our shoulders. That is the first samskara. Then Pundraha, we are shown how to wear the 12 Tirunamams of Bhagavan on our body. Then Pundraha Tatha Nama. We get a Dasya Nama. Till then, I could be Ranganathan, you could be Narasimha, someone could be Andal. After our Samashrayanam, after Panchasamskara, we get the name Adiyen Ramanuja Dasan, Adiyen Sri Vaishnava Dasan, etc. So the Dasya Namam, the name that shows that I am a devotee of Ramanuja, is gotten by us only when we undergo Panchasamskara. Then Mantraha, the fourth Samskara that we get is the Mantra. The Acharyan tells us or preaches to us the Tirumantram, Dvayam and Charamashlokam. The final one is Yaga, how to do Aradhanam to Bhagavan, how to perform puja every day. So these 5 things are taught to us by the Acharya. Of those 5, the fourth one, the mantra, is very important. The meanings of the Tirumantram, Dvayam and Charamashlokam are aplenty. There is a merely 8 plus 32 plus 25 characters, 25 letters. However, the meanings that are hidden in those is a lot. Therefore, Sri Pillai Lokacharya or Azhiya Manavala Perumal Nayanar wrote texts to elucidate the meanings of the Rahasya Trayams. So, starting from Swami Ramanuja or even from Swami Nammalvar, if you observe till the time of Pillai Lokacharya or Azhiya Manavala Perumal Nayanar, they all concentrated on writing texts. Initially, the Divya Prabandhams were written. Then, the commentaries to the Vedantas were written. Then, the commentaries to the Divya Prabandhams were written. Then, finally, the commentaries on the Rahasya Trayam were written. Now, there was a major shift in the strategy. Till then, it was books, books and books. Now, there was a shift from books to audio books. I was just kidding. So, till then, if you observe the titles of all the acharyas, it would say Paramacharya Yamunacharya, then Jagadacharya Swami Ramanuja, Jagadacharya Nambillai, Swami Pillai Lokacharya, Vyakhyana Chakravarti Periyavachan Pillai. Vyakhyana Chakravarti means the king among commentators. So, all these people were very skilled in writing texts. However, the people were not adept enough or skilled enough to learn texts at that point of time. So, the major shift was, instead of writing texts, the focus moved to preaching text by word of mouth. So, the next main Acharya, Swami Manavala Mamunikal, is titled Vishada Vak Shikhamani. So, everyone else wrote texts. Swami Manavala Mamunikal dedicated his life to spreading all the texts that the preceptors had written. In one of the slokas of Varavaramuni Shatakam, Sri Erumbiyappa says, Moolam Shathari Mukha Sukti Vivechanayaha. Swami Manavala Mamunikal was the source for knowing the meanings of the works of the Alvars. Shathari refers to Swami Nammalvar. Shathari Mukha Sukti, starting from Nammalvar up to Sri Pillai Lokacharya or Azhiya Manavala Perumal Nayanar, all of them had written texts. However, we needed a good orator, a good speaker to get those meanings out to the public, to preach those meanings in a way that is understandable to the public. That was the major contribution that Swami Manavala Mamunikal did. He preached the Rahasya Trayam and the Divya Prabandham to many, and he iterated them again and again and again. So, if you look at the uniqueness of Swami Manavala Mamunikal in our Guru Parampara, he was the person who moved from text to speech. Instead of writing granthas more and more, he has also written granthas. He has written commentaries to the works of Pillai Lokacharya, Nayanar, etc. But he is also known for his pravachanams. He has again and again and again delivered lectures and discourses on the meanings of the Upanishads, the meanings of the Divya Prabandham, etc. His Acharya, who was Thiruvaimozhi Pillai, commanded him that you should preach Sri Bhashyam only once. However, you should preach Thiruvaimozhi hundreds and hundreds of times. So he followed this. His preachings about Sri Bhashyam were very less, but he preached about Thiruvaimozhi and other Divya Prabandhams again and again and again. So, in this whole Acharya Parampara, for us who are scars of knowledge, we do not have the knowledge of Sanskrit, we do not know very good Tamil, we do not know the mixture, Manipravala language that the Acharyas have used. Therefore, we need a good orator. We need a person who can take the meanings from those texts and explain to us in a way that is very easy to understand. That was the work done by Vishada Vak Shikhamani. Vishada Vak means elaborate speech or clear speech. Vishadavak Shikhamani. He was the leader among such people who are great orators. So Swami Manavala Mamunigal was the last of a great line of acharyas who brought out all the texts to the public and preached to them. Now, this Swami Manavala Mamunigal took birth or incarnated in this world in 1370 AD according to the English calendar. In 1370, that is referred to as the Sadharana Varusham. In the Sanskrit computation of years, there are 60 names that are given to the years. After the 60 names are over, the 61st year will have the same name as the first year. So in that cycle, 1370, the Aipashi Moola Nakshatram was when Sri Manavala Mamunigal was born. That was called Sadharana Aipashi Moolam. So this year we refer to as Sharvari year. Similarly, in 1370, the year was Sadharana. So in Sadharana year, in Aipashi Tula Masam and in the asterism of Moolam, Sri Manavala Mamunigal took birth. He was born in Alvar Tirunagari. This was the birthplace of Swami Ramanuja himself, and in a way it was the birthplace. First, Swami Nammalvar was born in Alvar Tirunagari. Next, Swami Ramanuja in a way was also born in Alvar Tirunagari. We popularly know that Swami Ramanuja was born in Sriperumbudur. However, long before Swami Ramanuja was born, there was a deity made of Swami Ramanuja. So we know that Swami Nammalvar had a disciple called Madhurakavi Alvar. Madhurakavi Alvar wanted an idol so that even after Swami Nammalvar attains mukti, he can have that idol with him and do puja to Swami Nammalvar. So he took up the task of making an idol of Nammalvar. However, the idol that turned out was not of Swami Nammalvar, it was of a sannyasi who had a tridanda in his hand and was preaching. So Sri Madhurakavi Alvar went to Nammalvar and asked, I wanted to make an idol of you. However, the idol has come out differently and I don't know who this person is. You should please enlighten me. So Swami Nammalvar says, this is an acharya who is going to take birth several thousand years from now, and he will be the king of acharyas. He will be the Jagadacharya and he will be the Bhavishyat Acharya. Bhavishyat means future. So he will be the main preceptor, the main guru for the future. So Swami Ramanuja, his birth was indicated by Swami Nammalvar to Madhurakavi Alvar. That was more than 5,000 years ago. So that Bhavishyat Acharya Vigraham, the idol that Madhurakavi Alvar made, is still present in Alvar Tirunagari today. So Swami Nammalvar's idol and Ramanuja's idol, both that are present in Alvar Tirunagari today, were made by Madhurakavi Alvar. He first wanted to make an idol of Nammalvar, but the first idol that came out was Ramanuja's idol. Then he tried again and got Nammalvar's idol. So Nammalvar was directly born. He incarnated in Alvar Tirunagari. Swami Ramanuja was not born in Alvar Tirunagari. However, his deity, the deity that was born more than 5,000 years before the birth of Ramanuja, or 4,000 years before the birth of Ramanuja, was also made in Alvar Tirunagari. Finally, Yatindra Pravana, Manavala Mamunigal, was also born in Alvar Tirunagari. So Parankusha, Yatindra Pravana, Alvar, Embermanar and Jiyar, all three in a way can be said to have born in Alvar Tirunagari. So that was the greatness of his birth. Sriman Narayana looked at his serpent couch. So he sits on Adishesha in Sri Vaikuntham. There is a Simhasanam in which Adishesha resides, and on top of Adishesha Bhagavan is sitting. So he looked at Adishesha and commanded him to take birth in this world for 200 years and preach the meaning of the Vedas and the Divya Prabandhams. However, the first birth that Adishesha took was as Swami Ramanuja. He was born in 1017 AD and he lived in this world up to 1137 AD. If you count, you will get only 120 years. However, the command of Sriman Narayana was that Adishesha should stay here for 200 years. The problem was, Adishesha could not bear the separation from Sriman Narayana for so long. So the command was to stay here for 200 years. But after 120 years, he could not bear separation with his master, from his master, and so he returned to Sri Vaikuntham. So there was a remaining 80-year period that he had to complete to carry out the command of Bhagavan. Therefore, again in 1370 AD, Adishesha took birth as Swami Manavala Mamunigal again. So he is Yati Punaravatara. Yati was Swami Ramanuja. Yati Punaravatara. Swami Ramanuja himself was born again as Manavala Mamunikal. So this is the meaning of the avatara. He was first born in Alvar Trinahari. In the English calendar, it is 1370 AD. As per our Tamil calendar, it is Sadharana Aippashi Moolam. About this Moola Nakshatram, there was a verse that I stated at the beginning of this lecture. Yen Moolam Ashvayujamas Syavatara Moolam Kantopayantri Yamina Karunaika Sindhoho Asit Asatsu Ganitasya Mamapi Satta Moolam Tadeka Jagad Abhyudayika Moolam. This verse says, Yen Moolam Ashvayujamasi. Aippashi, Tula month, is referred to as Ashvayujamasa in Sanskrit. Ashvayujamasi Avatara Moolam. This asterism called Moolam was the source for the birth of Swami Manavala Mamunikal. So he is playing with the word Moolam. The word Moolam refers to asterism, the star, the nakshatra called Moolam also. And Moolam also means the root or the source. So Erumbiyappa here says, this Moola Nakshatram was the source for Manavala Mamunikal's birth. Similarly, Yen Moolam Ashvayujamas Syavatara Moolam Kantopayantri Yamina Karunaika Sindhoho Kanta Upayantri Muni. We call him Alahiya Manavala Mamunikal. So his birth name, the name that his mother and mother gave him was Alahiya Manavalan. They wanted to name him after Sri Ranganatha of Srirangam. So he named him Alahiya Manavalan. Once he took sannyasa ashrama, he became a Muni also. So Alahiya Manavala Mamuni. That was translated into Sanskrit as Vara Vara Muni. The word Vara has two meanings. One is beautiful or handsome. The second one is a bridegroom. So Alahiya is Vara. Manavalan means bridegroom. That is also represented by the word Vara. So Vara Vara Muni means Alahiya Manavala Muni. Similarly here Kanta Upayantra Muni. Kanta means one who is resplendent, one who is beautiful. Upayanta means a bridegroom. So Varavara Muni is the same as Kantopayantri Muni. Kantropayantri Yaminaha Karunaika Sindhoho. He was filled with compassion. Out of his Karuna, he preached the meanings of the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Alvars and the Acharyas to everyone in this world. The Karunaika Sindhoho Asid Asatsu Ganitasya Mamapi Satta Moolam. This was not a great task. The Moola Nakshatram was the reason, was the cause for the birth of Swami Manavala Mamunikal. But that is not such a great task. There is a greater task that the Moola Nakshatram has achieved. What that was? Asatsu Ganitasya Mamapi Satta Moolam Asit. I am a nobody. I have no knowledge about Bhagavan. I have no inclination to know about him. I am only interested in worldly things. I am not saying we should be like that. I am saying what the author of the shloka is saying. Till yesterday or till the time that I reached the lotus feet of Swami Manavala Mamunikal, how were we? We were a normal Laukika person. We did not know who Bhagavan was. We were only involved in material pleasures. Asatsu Ganitasya Mamapi Satta Moolam Asit. Such a person who was nothing has been made into a Bhakta today, has been made into a Sri Vaishnava today. So that is the great task. Moola Nakshatram was not only the cause for the birth of Swami Manavala Mamunikal, it was also the cause for the upliftment of crores and crores of people. Ashvayujamas Syavatara Moolam Kantopayantri Yaminah Karunaika Sindhoho Asid Asatsu Ganitasya Mamapi Satta Moolam Tadeka Jagad Abhyudayika Moolam. So this was the Moola Nakshatra in which Swami Manavala Mamunikal incarnated. He incarnated in Alvar Trinahari, which was the birthplace of Swami Nammalvar. He was the reincarnation of Swami Ramanuja. The Adiseshan had to stay in this world for 200 years. As Swami Ramanuja, he stayed for 120 years. For the remaining period, to complete the command of Bhagavan, he incarnated again as Sri Manavala Mamunikal. And in this birth, in this incarnation as Manavala Mamunikal, he dedicated himself to Tamil works. Swami Ramanuja, also he had a lot of interest in the Divya Prabandhams, and whatever the expanse of the Divya Prabandhams is today, how many ever commentaries we have or how it is used in everyday life in our household and in temples, we owe all of that to Swami Ramanuja. However, he did not write any texts in Tamil. All of his texts are in Sanskrit because at that time the need of the hour was to explain the meaning of the Vedantas without a shred of doubt. So he took that up. he wrote a commentary for the Bhagavad Gita, he wrote the commentary for the Brahma Sutrams of Vedavyasa, and he also wrote a commentary for the Upanishads in the form of Vedartha Sangraham, and so on. So he, although he was always in his mind thinking only about the Divya Prabandhams, could not write much about it. Therefore, to quench that thirst or the need to or the excitement to write about the Divya Prabandhams, he incarnated again as Sri Manavala Mamunigal and wrote extensively. Manavala Mamunigal has written a commentary to Periyalvar Tirumudi. Even there, he did not write a whole commentary. It is a very sweet story. Although a little sad, Periyavachan Pillai has written commentaries for all 4,000 Divya Prabandhams. All Divya Prabandhams of all Alvars have a commentary by Periyavachan Pillai. However, the commentary that he wrote for Periyalvar Tirumudi alone was lost to termites due to some pest problems. The manuscripts were lost and only certain portions were available at the time of Swami Manavala Mamunigal's lifetime. Therefore, Sri Manavala Mamunigal started writing another commentary for Periyalvar Tirumudi. However, he did not start from the first verse and go up to the last verse. He took whatever was available from Periyavachan Pillai's commentary. Wherever there was a break in the commentary, he filled it with his own commentary. Wherever the original commentary was available, he let it continue as it is. So he did not want the glory that he was a commentator. He just wanted the meaning of that text to be conveyed to the people. He wanted the intention of Periyavachan Pillai not to go to waste. Therefore, of all these qualities, he wanted to write for the Divya Prabandhams. He wanted to dedicate his life for Rahasyatrayam. He has written commentaries for Pillai Lokacharya's Sri Vachanabhushanam, Tattvatrayam and Mukshuppadi also. So out of all these works, he considered Sri Vachanabhushanam as the most superior. That is the Grantha of Pillai Lokacharya. So this was the Avatara and his Acharyan was Tirumalai Alvar. Shri Shailesha Dayapatram. We start the Taniyan with this. Shailesha, Shri Shailesha was Tirumalai Alvar. We refer to him as Tiruvaimozhi Pillai. Dayapatram. He was the recipient of the compassion of Tiruvaimozhi Pillai. If you go through all the Taniyans of our Acharyas, none of them will say this person was so great that he was able to grasp all the meanings of the Vedas and Upanishads and Divya Prabandhams. In all the Taniyans, it will only say he was the beneficiary of someone else's compassion. We will say Shri Shailesha Dayapatram. Manavala Mamunigal did not get all the knowledge on his own. He was the receptacle of the compassion of Tiruvaimozhi Pillai, and through that compassion and kindness he got all the works. So this was their humility. None of the Acharyas wanted to boast or wanted to show off their pride, wanted to show off their prowess. Swami Manavala Mamunigal did not want a Vigraham itself for him. Therefore, in this way, Swami Manavala Mamunigal was great among the Acharyas. First we saw how he was unique. While all other Acharyas wrote texts to explain the meanings of the Vedas and the Divya Prabandhams, Swami Manavala Mamunigal started preaching them and speaking about them to everyone and explaining that in a lucid way. Similarly, the greatness was that he became the Acharya of Acharyas. He came in a great lineage, starting from Swami Nammalvar or even from Lakshminatha, Sriman Narayana himself. The Acharya Parampara came up to Manavala Mamunigal. Now, what is the proof that of all these Acharyas, Manavala Mamunigal was the greatest? It was the recognition that was given to him by Namberumal, Sri Ranganatha of Sri Rangam. So Sri Ranganatha wanted to listen to the meanings of the Id. Nambillai was an Acharya who wrote a commentary to Nammalvar's Thiruvaimozhi. That commentary is called Idu Muppattarayirappadi. Bhagavan Sri Ranganatha wanted to listen to the meanings of Thiruvaimozhi and Idu through the mouth of Manavala Mamunigal. So he stopped all his Utsavams for 1 year. If you look at Sri Rangam, the Utsavams are what are most important in Sri Rangam. We say Nadayadaku, Kodayadaku, etc. In Kanchipuram, the umbrellas are very beautiful. How Bhagavan adorns them, how he comes on a procession with them is all very beautiful. In Sri Rangam, it is Nadayadaku. Bhagavan walks like a lion, he walks like a tiger, he walks like an elephant, he walks slithers like a snake and so on. So the Utsavams and all his celebrations are very important in Sri Rangam. However, to listen to the discourses of Sri Manavala Mamunigal, Sri Ranganatha stopped all his Utsavams for 1 year. he came to a mandapam, sat there and asked Manavala Mamunigal to explain the meanings of Thiruvaimozhi and listen to them to his heart's content. However, we might have a question here. The Thiruvaimozhi sings the praise of Bhagavan himself. Now, isn't it a little ostentatious to listen to his own praise? Bhagavan wanted to listen to Thiruvaimozhi. Thiruvaimozhi is nothing but praises for Bhagavan. So, Bhagavan is so filled with garva that he wants to listen to his own praises. However, that is not the case. It is like a father or a mother listening to the words of a child. The child might want to recite some shloka or recite some pashuram or recite even rhymes that he learnt in the school. The father or mother might already know that. The father or mother might know even more than the child knows right now. But they want to listen to it from the mouth of the child. Similarly, Bhagavan wants to listen to the praises that we tell for him because it is an outpouring of our bhakti from our words. From the words of the Alvars, Bhagavan is able to experience the bhakti that is there in the heart of Nammalvar or Periyalvar, etc. So, he wants to listen to that again and again and again. This is not something new. Even as Rama, he listened to Ramayana from the mouth of Lava and Kusha. Lava Kusha were singing Ramayana throughout the country. Someone came and told Rama that his story was being sung by two beautiful boys. The poem was very great and he should also listen to it once. So Rama invited Kusha and Lava to his own court. He dedicated a few days for this and Kusha and Lava sang the Ramayana to Rama. Now, does Rama not know his own story? Is he going to learn something new from this? However, the sight of them singing, the listening to that musical note, to that Valmiki Ramayana is so pleasing to Bhagavan that he wants to listen to his own story through the mouth of his bhaktas. Similarly, Bhagavan here also wants to listen to Thiruvaimozhi. Alvar says, Inbam Payakka, Yedilmalar Madharam Thanum, Ivvedulaha Inbam Payakka Inithiranda Vithirin Dalhinna Yengal Piran, Anbut Tamarndodahinna, Anipodal Shur, Thiruvaran Vilai. In the Divyadesham called Thiruvaran Vilai, it is one of the 13 Malayala Divyadeshams. In that place, Bhagavan invited Nammalvar. Nammalvar was reciting Thiruvaimozhi. He was singing Thiruvaimozhi. Bhagavan wanted to set aside all other works. He did not want to take care of this world. He did not want to go rescue anybody. He did not want to kill demons. He did not want to grant boons. He wanted to set aside the administration of this world and listen to Thiruvaimozhi to his heart's content. So, he called Nammalvar to Thiruvaran Vilai. He came there along with Mahalakshmi Tayar and sat there and enjoyed listening to Thiruvaimozhi. Inbam Payakka, Yedilmalar Madharam Thanum, Ivvedulaha Inbam Payakka. In the same way, just as Bhagavan and Mahalakshmi Tayar listened to Thiruvaimozhi from the mouth of Nammalvar, Sri Ranganatha wanted to listen to the meaning of Thiruvaimozhi from the mouth of Sri Manavala Mamunikal. So for 1 year, he set aside all his utsavams. He stopped all the celebrations there and dedicated it to listening to the Thiruvaimozhi Kalakshepams. So that is the recognition. Even today, suppose there is a great musician. He has to be recognized by the government or he has to be recognized by a society. What will they do? They will organize a concert by that musician. They won't just call him and give him some money or give him a title and send him away. The best recognition that someone can give is, if I am a connoisseur of art or I know a lot about music, the best appreciation that we can give is call them, ask them to sing for us and give some title or honor them well. So in the same way, Bhagavan has honored Sri Manavala Mamunikal. There were so many acharyas before him. He did not call Ramanuja to deliver Kalakshepams to him. He did not call Pillai Lokacharya and listen to the meanings of his works from Pillai Lokacharya. He invited only Manavala Mamunikal. So that shows the greatness of Manavala Mamunikal. He was so selfless and he was so involved in the teachings of the Alvars that Bhagavan decided that this person explains the meaning of the Divya Prabandhams of Thiruvaimozhi, then it is worth my time to listen to it. He did not want to listen to Swami Ramanuja also. Swami Ramanuja never recited Sri Bhashyam in front of him. Pillai Lokacharya did not recite his texts in front of him. However, Swami Manavala Mamunikal was given the opportunity and the honor to deliver Kalakshepams on Thiruvaimozhi and Edu in front of Sri Ranganatha. So that is the recognition that shows that Manavala Mamunikal is the greatest Acharya. So he is unique because instead of writing texts, I am not saying he did not write texts, but his focus was on preaching the meanings of the Divya Prabandhams to everyone by word of mouth. That is why he is called Vishada Vak Shikhamani. Similarly, the greatness of Swami Manavala Mamunikal can be known, can be understood from the fact that Sri Ranganatha of Srirangam recognized him and called him, and he did not stop with listening to his discourse alone. He said, "You are my Acharya." Bhagavan could have listened to many people's discourses. Bhagavan has listened to so many people singing. Even today, if you go to temples, so many great musicians are invited. They sing in front of Bhagavan, they receive honor from him and they go away. Bhagavan does not say that any of them is his Acharya. However, here it was not just that Manavala Mamunikal delivered Kalakshepams. Bhagavan listened to them for pleasure. Bhagavan accepted Manavala Mamunikal as his own Acharya, and to show that, he offered the Taniyan of Sri Shailesha Dayapatram. In that he says, Sri Shailesha Dayapatram. Swami Manavala Mamunikal is the receptacle or the beneficiary of the compassion of Tirumalayalvar, Thiruvaimozhi Pillai. Dhi Bhaktyadi Gunarnavam. Dhihi refers to knowledge. Bhakti refers to devotion. So, Dhi Bhakti Adi. Adi is nothing but Vairagyam. Paramatmani yo raktaha viraktaha aparamatmani. As our devotion and our love towards Bhagavan grows, we are automatically detached from worldly emotions. We do not want worldly pleasures anymore. We are detached from our relatives and so on. So, Dhi, Bhakti, Vairagyam can be taken away the Adipadam. So, Dhi, Bhaktyadi, Guna, Arnavam. He is an ocean which contains all this. An ocean might have pearls. It might have many precious stones. Similarly, Sri Manavala Mamunikal is an ocean that has many precious stones like Jnanam, Bhakti, Vairagyam, etc. Dhi Bhaktyadi Gunarnavam. Yatindra Pravanam Vande. Yatindra Pravana, that was his main identification. He was the devotee of Swami Ramanuja. So the main message that he wanted to convey was, Acharya Abhimanam is our path to Mukti. So there are many means to attain Mukti. We say Karma Yoga is a way to reach Sri Vaikuntham. Jnana Yoga is a way. Bhakti Yoga is a way. Shraranagati is a way. All these are explained in the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, etc. The last one, the easiest way that we can adopt is called Acharya Abhimanam. Pashur Manushya Pakshiva Yecha Vaishnava Samshrayaha Tenaiva Te Prayasyanti Tad Vishnov Paramam Padam. This verse says, you might not be so great like Alvar in devotion. You might not be so great in knowledge also like Nammalvar or Ramanuja, etc. You might not have so much Vairagyam to become a sannyasi, etc. However, you might be a bird, you might be a human, you might be a cow. If you are under the good graces of a great Bhagavata, then by that association itself, we will gain Mukti. Pashuhu, Manushyaha, Pakshiva. Pashu refers to an animal. Manushyaha is a human. Pakshiva, you might even be a bird. Yecha Vaishnava Samshrayaha. If you are within the fold of a Vaishnava, of a Sri Vaishnava Bhagavata, then Tenaiva Te Prayasyanti. You need not have Jnanam, Bhakti, Vairagyam. You need not be like Prahlada or Nammalvar or Ramanuja. However, you are doing service to a great Bhagavata. You are not offending a great Bhagavata. You are listening to whatever that Bhagavata, that Sri Vaishnava preaches to you. So if you are in the good books, that Bhagavata says, Aliyal Nam Payyalanna, that Bhagavata should feel, this person is a good person. He is in my good graces. So he is a nice person. If a Bhagavata feels this way about us, then nothing else is needed. Tenaiva te prayasyanti tad Vishnov paramam padam. So this verse says, even if we are not so great to perform Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, we should come under the fold of someone who is so great. If we do that, then Bhagavan automatically grants Mukti to us also. So Swami Manavala Mamunikal was dedicated to this. He was steadfast in this Nishthai. This is called Antimopaya Nishthai. Antima means final. Upaya means to attain Mukti. So Antimopaya, the final way to attain Mukti is Acharya Abhimanam. So to show that, he has written a lot of texts. Yatiraja Vimshati and Arti Prabandham show his devotion to Swami Ramanuja. The title Yatindra Pravanan is not given lightly. He considered Swami Ramanuja as everything for him. So Yatiraja Vimshati clearly says Swami Ramanuja is the one who has to grant us mukti, and it also pleads for the opportunity to do service at the lotus feet of Swami Ramanuja. In the Arti Prabandham also, he also says Adhikaramundel Araharirangaro Adhikaram Illadarkanno Yadirasha Niranga Vanduvadu. If I had all the necessary qualifications to reach moksham, then I did not have an acharya at all. I could have gone to Bhagavan directly and he would have given me moksham. If I had Jnana Yogam, if I had Karma Yoga, if I had Bhakti Yoga, etc., then Bhagavan would grant me mukti directly. But I don't have any of that. I don't even know how to start learning about those things. So for such a person, for one who has no qualifications at all, the only way is Ramanuja Daya. So the compassion or the kindness of Swami Ramanuja is the only way by which we can reach mukti. Manavala Mamunikal was strong in his conviction about this. So in all his texts, he wrote about Swami Ramanuja, he wrote about the compassion of Swami Ramanuja and how only he can grant us mukti. So Dhi Bhaktyadi Gunarnavam Yatindra Pravanam Vande Ramya Jamataram Munim. Again the same name. Alahiya Manavala Mamuni. Alahiya becomes Ramya. Jamata means Manavalan, a bridegroom. Mamuni means a sannyasi. So Varavara Muni. Kantopayantruyami. Similarly here, Sri Shailesha Dayapatram, Dhi Bhaktyadi Gunarnavam, Yatindra Pravanam Vande, Ramya Jamataram Munim. This was the Taniyan that Sri Ranganatha gave to Sri Manavala Mamunihal on the last day of the Id Kalakshepam. So, he did not just listen to the Kalakshepam, he accepted Manavala Mamunihal as his own Acharya. Why did he have to do that? This was because he was not so proud of his other Acharyas. In his previous incarnations also, he has had acharyas. As Rama, he learnt all his vidya from Valmiki, Vishwamitra, etc. However, Vishwamitra was not such a great person who was beyond anger or beyond desire. He had fallen into many pitfalls in his life. Similarly, Vasishtha also has tried to commit suicide, etc. and he has done many things out of desire, etc. So, those people were not so great. They were great in their knowledge. They were unparalleled in their understanding of the Vedas. However, in their behavior, in their Atma Guna and in their Vairagyam, they were not so great. Similarly, when Bhagavan took birth as Krishna also, he went to Sandipani. He studied the 64 Vidyas and Kalas under Sandipani. But after that, even Sandipani did not identify Krishna as Paramatma. At the end, Krishna wanted to offer some Guru Dakshina to Sandipani. Sandipani could have asked for mukti itself. However, he asked that Krishna should search and find his lost son and get him back to him. So, he was not very proud of his track record of acharyas. So, when he saw someone like Manavala Mamunihal, who was unparalleled in his jnanam, bhakti, vairagyam, commitment, his acharya abhimanam, etc., he wanted to accept Manavala Mamunihal as his acharya so that he can boast to others that he has the most superior acharya amongst everyone. Nobody else can say this. Sri Mahalakshmi Tayar can say, Bhagavan is her acharya. Vishwaksena can say, Mahalakshmi Tayar preach to me. Nammalvar can say, Vishwaksena preach to me. However, the supreme acharya amongst all of these people is Sri Manavala Mamunihal. The only person who can claim in this acharya parampara that Manavala Mamunihal is his acharya is the first Acharya Lakshminatha himself. So this Guru Parampara, rather than being a chain where one Acharya comes after the other, it is a necklace where it starts with Sriman Narayana, then Mahalakshmi, Vishwaksena, Nammalvar, then Nathamunihal, Alavandar, Embermanar and so on. Finally, it comes to Manavala Mamunihal, and Manavala Mamunihal is again the Acharya of Lakshminatha Bhagavan. So this is a necklace, this is a hara. Mahati Guru Pankti Hara Yashtihi Vibhudhanam Hridayangama Vibhati. This is a necklace that we should wear in our mind, not on our neck. This necklace should always be there in our mind so that our mind is purified and it is clean. So, this is the greatness of Sri Manavala Mamunihal. Now, what should we do for Sri Manavala Mamunihal? Why should we celebrate his Thirunakshatram? What is the purpose of all these rote learnings? We should see that we are at the end of our time. So, what should we do for such a great preceptor who has done selfless service to the well-being of the whole humankind? What should we do? We can only show our gratitude to him. We celebrate Father's Day, we celebrate Mother's Day. Is it so that we respect our fathers only on that day? Or we fall and prostrate at the feet of our mothers only on that day? No. We are supposed to respect them and love them and prostrate before them every day. However, we have selected a particular day of the year to celebrate them even more, to remember them, to think about the selfless service and the sacrifices that they have done for us. Similarly, the Tirunakshatram, the birth celebrations of all these Alvas and Acharyas, is carried out in a large way in all temples and houses. What is this for? Why all this ostentatious display of money and power and etc.? It is not just to show off. It is to know. It is to make people understand what is the contribution of that Acharya to them, what good that Acharya has given them, and how they can repay by showing their gratitude. These Acharyas never asked for money. They did not ask for a piece of land. They did not even ask us to write a few shlokas about them. The only thing that they asked was, listen to our preachings and abide by them. Swami Nammalvar in one of his Pasharam says, Sonnal Virodamidu, Ahilum Solluvan Kermino, Yen Navilen Kaviyan Uruvarkum Kodukkilen. I know that what I am going to say next is not going to be pleasing to you. Sonnal Virodamidu, Ahilum Solluvan. You are not going to like what I am going to say next, but I am going to say it nevertheless. So he told this to a few people. They asked, what should we do? You are going to preach something that we don't like. What do you expect us to do? Alvar says, Kernmino, you just lend me your ears. Listen to what I am going to say. You can then analyze it. You can think till the end of your intellect. Finally, you can conclude that what I said is correct and abide by it. Sonnal Virodamidu Ahilam Solluvan. Kernmino, I don't want your money. I don't want you to sing my praises. I just want you to listen. So this was the mentality with which Swami Manavala Mamunikal and other Acharyas also preached. Therefore, it is our duty to show our gratitude to them. A sign of that, a way of doing that is to celebrate their Tirunakshatram, to conduct festivals in their honor, to recite their Pasharam. So what do we do? When there is a festival for Manavala Mamunikal, when there is a 10-day Utsavam that is celebrated, what do we do? We conduct processions for Manavala Mamunikal so that everyone can see him, get his darshan, get his blessings and his Mangala Shasanam, etc. Then we organize lectures, we organize competitions, we sing Pasharams that are written by the Alvars, we read the texts and listen to discourses about the texts of Manavala Mamunikal. So there is nothing wrong here. We are only doing an academic thing. We are not spraying money or we are not wasting money here. We are lending our time and lending our interest to their works. So there is nothing wrong with this. It is the more and more we do this, the more and more our interest in the Sampradaya grows. So celebrating such Tirunakshatrams is very important. And that too, rote learning. This competition that is being organized by Vedics Foundation is about rote learning. So you learn 10 shlokas from Yatiraja Vimshati. You learn 10 Pasharams from Arti Prabandham. You learn few shlokas from Yatiraja Mangalam. Come recite it. Learn Upadesha Rattinamale. Come recite it. What is the use of this? We should know about Brahman. But it says Tattvajnanat Moksha Labha. The more and more you accumulate knowledge about the supreme truth, then the closer you are to Mukti. So what is important is knowledge. It is not mere rote learning. So this is the mentality of many. What is the use of learning the Divya Prabandhams? Let me just know about the Vedas, the Vedantas, what their meaning is, how Bhagavan is, how we can meditate about him. That is what is important. The Divya Prabandhams or learning them by heart is not so important, is the mentality that many people have. However, Andal says this is completely wrong. In her last stanza, in the last portion of Thiruvayamudi, she says, Vanga Kadalhadenda Madhavanai Keshavanai, Tingal Tirumohattu Cheyadayar Senniranji, Angu Apparakonda Vattai, Anipuduvai Paingamala Tantariyal Pattarviran Kodeshonna, Shangat Tamil Malai Muppadum Tappame Ingi Parishurepar, Yirirandu Malvaraithol Shengan Tirumohattu Chelvat Tirumalal, Yengum Tiruvarul Pettu Inburuvar. This Pasharam should be divided into 4 phases. The first phase is the Gopikas who were in Vrindavan when Krishna was here as Krishna Avatara, they did a penance, they did a vrata. That is, Vanga Kadal Hadainda Madhavanai Keshavanai, Tingal Tirumohattu Cheyadayar Shennu Iranji, Angu Apparakonda Aattai. The Gopikas threes, what they did was, they went, they pleaded to Bhagavan, wanted to get him as their husband, and they received the parai of Kainkaryam from him. This was the first thing that happened in Dwapara Yuga. After that, அப்பறைகொண்ட ஆற்றை அணிபுதுவை பைங்கமல தண்டெரியல் பட்டர்பிரான் கோதை சொன்ன சங்கத் தமிழ் மாலை. Andal was born in Srivilliputtur, not in Vrindavan. Andal was born in Kali Yuga, not in Dwapara Yuga when Krishna was here. So, Andal could not go have darshan of Bhagavan directly. She could not go do service to Bhagavan directly. So, what she did was, she started doing Anukara. She thought of herself as a cowherdess. She thought of all her friends in Srivilliputtur as Gopikas. She thought of Vatapatrashayi in Srivilliputtur as Krishna himself. She thought of the temple of Vatapatrashayi as Nanda Gopala's house, and so on. So she performed Anukara and sang the 30 songs that are Tirupavai. So, அப்பறைகொண்ட வாற்றை அணிபுதுவை பைங்கமல தண்டெரியல் பட்டர்பிரான் கோதை சொன்ன சங்கத் தமிழ் மாலை 30. Then, the third phase is முப்பதும் தப்பாமே இங்கிப் பரிசுரைப்பார். The third phase is us. The Gopikas performed the Vrata. Andal imitated the performance of the Vrata. What are we doing? We did not do the penance directly. We did not perform any Hemanta Vrata, etc. We did not imitate or we did not do Anukara like Andal also. What we have done is, Ingu ipparishu uraipar. We have learnt the Pasurams of Tirupavai and we are just reciting them. So there are 3 people now. The first directly went to Bhagavan, prostrated before him, pleaded to him and got the opportunity to do service to him. The second person was Andal, who could not go to him directly, but she did Anukara of the Gopikas Threes and sang songs in praise of him. The third set of people is people like us, who are not like Andal, who are not like Gopikas Threes, but we merely learn the Pasurams that Andal has written and we go sing it in front of Bhagavan. Now, next Andal says, Ipparishuraipar, ஈரிரண்டு மால்வரைத்தோள் செங்கண் திருமுகத்து செல்வத் திருமாலால் எங்கும் திருவருள் பெற்று இன்புறுவர். So Andal says, be it the Gopikas Threes who performed the Vrata, be it me, Andal, who has sung these songs, be it those in the future who are going to recite these songs, all 3 of us will get the same level of anugraham from Krishna. இப்பரிசுரைப்பார் ஈரிரண்டு மால்வரைத்தோள் செங்கண் திருமுகத்து செல்வத் திருமாலால் எங்கும் திருவருள் பெற்று இன்புறுவர். There is no difference in the result. They had a lot of bhakti. Gopikas Threes had a lot of bhakti to Bhagavan. Andal had even more bhakti. We don't have such bhakti towards devotion towards Bhagavan. However, we are singing the Pasurams that Andal sang. So, Bhagavan thinks that we are Andal herself. Parashara Bhattar, when he explains this, says, Narkandrukku irangum denu, Thorkandrukkum iranguma pole. The mother cow gives milk for the calf. Once the calf has drunk whatever it needs, we push the calf aside, tie it, and we take the milk so that it can benefit humans also. Now, suppose the calf is not there anymore. Due to some mishappening, the calf is not there anymore, but the mother still has to give milk. If the mother stops giving milk, what will all the people in the world do? Therefore, what they used to do is, they had a calf made of hay. So that is a tol kandru. They take the skin, some brown skin or something, they stuff hay inside it and make it look like a calf. So that even when the calf is not near the mother does not fear for the calf. She is still happy, she is still calm that the calf is still with her. So that tol kandru is it is a makeshift arrangement. It is not a true calf. The mother cow, when she sees the true calf, will give milk. Even when the same mother looks at the tol kandru, when the artificial calf is also brought in front of the mother cow again gives milk, thinking that this is the calf that she had given birth to. So what is the only similarity? The skin that they both had is the same. The calf also had the same cow skin. Now the same thing has been stuffed with hay and there is an artificial calf that has been kept here. So the similarity between them is both of them have the same skin. Similarly, Parashar Bhattar says, the Gopikas had a lot of devotion. Andal had a lot of devotion towards Krishna. Now, Andal has sung Tirupavai. So, whenever Bhagavan listens to Tirupavai, he thinks that Andal herself has come now. So, when we recite Tirupavai, we are like an artificial cow. We are taking the skin called Tirupavai that Andal has given us we are covering ourselves with that skin and going in front of Bhagavan. So when I recite Tiruppavai in front of Bhagavan, he thinks that whatever is inside the skin is a true calf. It is Andal herself. He does not think that it is an artificial calf, someone like me who has no devotion at all. So that Pashuram is what makes Bhagavan show his blessings towards me, show his compassion towards me. So that is why these Pashurams are very important. We should learn them by heart. We should try to learn as many Pashurams as possible and recite them. It is not merely for this competition. This is a very great effort because as having this competition as just a cause, many children would have learnt these shlokas. Now, every day you should all chant these shlokas in front of Bhagavan. Yatiraja Vimshati is just 20 shlokas. It may take you 5 minutes to recite these. Upadesha Ratnamala or Arti Prabandham are a little larger. You can recite them during the weekends whenever you have time or in the evenings. So, by this effort, hundreds and hundreds of houses are now going to have the sound of Yatiraja Vimshati and Arti Prabandham ringing within them. So, this one effort to conduct a competition should push more and more people, should create the inclination in people to learn more and more Pashurams. Small children starting from the age of 5 can get involved in this. They can learn Yatiraja Vimshati, Arti Prabandham, etc. And as you go on, you can learn the meanings. I am not saying the meanings are not important at all. Don't learn the meanings. This is not what I am saying. I am saying just the Pashurams alone are a skin that will fetch us the compassion of Bhagavan. Once we have that compassion, we will automatically mature. We will grow in our spiritual path and we will mature and start learning the meanings also. Today, without learning the Divya Prabandhams, without the compassion or the benedictions of Bhagavan, if I go start learning the Vedas or the Upanishads or the Divya Prabandhams directly, I am not sure that we would understand the meanings. So, we should first get the compassion, we should get Bhagavan on our side first. To do that, the only way is to pose as if we are Alvars. We are definitely not Alvars. None of us have Bhakti or Jnanam equal to the Alvars. But if we recite their Pashurams, Bhagavan will think that Nammalvar himself has come here. Andal himself has come here. Manavala Mamunikal himself has come here. And so, he will shower us with his blessings. Using those blessings with his compassion, we can start progressing on our spiritual path. Therefore, it is very important to celebrate such Tirunakshatrams, and in these Tirunakshatrams, we should learn about the works of those Acharyas, learn them by heart, recite them and continue to recite them throughout our lives. So, this is a very noble effort from Vedics Foundation which should be lauded, and I urge more and more of you, you still have a week to prepare for these competitions. So, you should all put your head down and learn the shlokas. It is not forcing you. When you learn the meanings of these shlokas later on, now this shloka itself might push you to learn Sanskrit, which is also a great thing. That Sanskrit will help you understand these shlokas, then you will grow in knowledge. That knowledge will then make you learn more Divya Prabandhams. So this whole cycle, it is going to be a positive reinforcement which will get you going in your life. So I plead to you, I request all of you to learn more and more Pashurams and learn about the glory of Swami Manavala Mamunikal, and what we should do is pray to Bhagavan, pray to Manavala Mamunikal that they should forever give their blessings to us. Shrimad Rangam Jayatu Paramam Dhama Tejo Nidhanam Bhuma Tasmin Bhavatu Kushali Kopi Bhuma Sahayaha Divyam Tasmai Dishatu Vibhavam Deshiko Deshikanam Kale Kale Varavara Munihi Kalpayan Mangalani. This shloka says Srirangam should always remain as it is today. Srimad Rangam Jayatu, may it be victorious, may it grow manifold. Jayatu Paramam Dhama Tejo Nidhanam. It is similar to Sri Vaikuntha. Sri Vaikuntha is called Param Jyotis. It is very resplendent, it is very luminous. Similarly, Sri Rangam is also Bhuloka Vaikuntham. So, in that way, Sri Rangam should first grow. Bhuma Tasmin Bhavatu Kushali Kopi Bhuma Sahayaha. Bhuma refers to Sri Ranganatha here. Sri Ranganatha along with Sri Ranganachiyar should reside there always, give us their darshan, give us their blessings and shower their mercy on us. Bhuma tasmin bhavatu kushali kopi bhuma sahayaha divyam tasmai dishatu vibhavam deshiko deshikanam. He is the preceptor of preceptors. Deshikaha deshikanam. Deshika refers to Acharya. So Manavala Mamunikal is now the Deshika of Deshikas. All the Acharya Parampara has so many Acharyas. He is the Acharya of an Acharya because Lakshminatha Sri Ranganatha himself accepted Swami Manavala Mamunihal as his Acharya. Deshiko Deshikanam Divyam Tasmai Dishatu Vibhavam Kale Kale Varavara Munihi. Let Sri Manavala Mamunihal reside in Srirangam always, and may he look at Srirangam and help Srirangam grow more and more. Dishatu Vibhavam Deshiko Deshikanam Kale Kale Varavara Munihi Kalpayan Mangalani. May more and more auspicious things grow in Srirangam. May Swami Manavala Mamunihal always protect and let Srirangam grow. This is the request that we should keep to Bhagavan and Manavala Mamunihal. We recite every day, Adiyarhal Vaழ, Aranganahar Vaழ, Shadahoban Tanthamil Nool Vaழ, Kadal Suzhundha Mannulagam Vaழ, Manavala Mamuniye Innum Oru Noothandirum. So Manavala Mamunihal is not for Sri Vaishnavas alone. Kadal Suzhundha Mannulagam Vaழ, Manavala Mamunihal wanted to preach to all corners of the world. His Shishyas should also be so. Yerambiyappa says, Apagata Madamanaihi, Antimopaya Nishtaihi, Adhigata Paramarthaihi, Arthakamanapekshaihi, Nikhila Jana Suhrudbhihi, Nirjita Krodhalobhaihi, Varavara Munibhrityaihi, Astume Nitya Yogaha. Yerambiyappa says how a devotee of Manavala Mamunihal should behave. So this is something that all of us should know and try to practice in our lives. First, Apagata Madamanaihi. We should not be rude to anyone. We should not have too much pride. We should not disrespect anyone out of that pride. Apagata Madamanaihi. Antimopaya Nishtaihi. We should understand that the Acharya is very important. We cannot learn about Bhagavan, we cannot learn about Mukti or Sharanagati without the teachings of an Acharya. So we must all find out and search for and identify an Acharya. We should continuously go to him, we should learn texts from him, and we should understand about Brahman. This is the right time for that. You are now starting rote learning, you are learning Divya Prabandhams, etc. As you grow, your thirst for knowledge will also grow. So you need someone to guide you at that point of time. So that Acharya is very important. Antimopaya Nishtaihi. Once you go to an Acharya and start learning from him, then that Acharya will catch hold of you. Even if you try to go away, that Acharya will keep showering knowledge and blessings on you. Antimopaya Nishtaihi. Adhigata Paramarthaihi. You should always seek knowledge. We are not told to accept things blindly. There are answers for all questions in the Sampradaya and in Vishishtadvaita philosophy. So you can question, you can seek knowledge, but you should do that with an open mind. When you get the answer, you should accept and not continue questioning. If you accept something, you should start practicing it. Antimopaya Nishtaihi, Adhigata Paramarthaihi, Artha Kama Anapekshaihi. You should not do anything merely for pleasure or for money. It should be for the good of the society. It should be for your upliftment. It should be for the benefit of others also. Adhikata Paramarthaihi Arthakama Anapekshaihi Nikhila Jana Suhritbhihi. Suhrit is a well-wisher. You are not a well-wisher for yourself. You should not be a well-wisher for your family alone or your relative circle alone. You should be Nikhila Jana Suhrit. Everybody in this world should be happy, they should be content, they should be safe, they should be pleased. Therefore, we should try to do that. It is not physically possible. However, you can pray for that. If more and more and more of us have that thought and pray because of that, that positive attitude will have great effects in this world. So, Antimopaya Nishtaihi, Adhikata Paramarthaihi, Arthakama Anapekshaihi, Nikhila Jana Sukrudbhihi, Nirjita Krodhalobhaihi. We should control our anger and our desire. We should not be quick to anger. We should not judge people. We should not shout at people. We should respect them. We should respect elders for their age. We should respect teachers for their knowledge. We should respect teachers for the sacrifice that they do for us. Nirjita Krodhalobhaihi, Varavaramana Bhrityaihi, Astume Nitya Yogaha. Such a person is called a devotee of Manavala Mamunihal. So we should all strive to be in that way. We should grow all these Atma Gunas that have been mentioned in this shloka. And one important thing we should do is celebrate the Trinakshatrams of Alvars and Acharyas. Keep that as an opportunity to learn more and more about them, learn about their works, learn the meanings of those works, and start following something. You can take up this vow. For each Trinakshatram that comes from henceforth, I will learn one concept that Alvar has preached, and I will see how I can start applying that from that Trinakshatram day onwards. When Aipashi Moolam came, I understood this one thing that Swami Manavala Mamunigal has told us, that we should all respect our acharyas and our gurus. So, from this Aipashi Moolam, I will never disrespect any teacher, any tutor, any preacher, and I will be with a great Vishwasa and a Bhakti to them. Similarly, take the next month, pick up any one concept or one good tidbit that Alvar has preached to us, and we should start practicing that. That will do wonders in our life. Therefore, Adiyargal Vaazha, Aranganahar Vaazha, Chadahoban Tantamil Nool Vaazha, Kadal Suzhundha Mannulaham Vaazha. All devotees should flourish. The Srirangam temple town should flourish. Chadahoban Tan Tamil Nool Vaazha. The works of Nammalvar and all other Alvar should also flourish. Kadal Suzhundha Mannulaham Vaazha. The whole world that is surrounded by oceans should also live peacefully, happily and contently. Vaazha Manavala Mamuniye Innumoru Noothandirum. For all that to happen, Sri Manavala Mamunigal should always have his eyes directed at us. He should shower his blessings and his mercy on us, and he should keep this world functioning, running, and uplift all of us from this mundane world. So, with that request and with that prarthana, I conclude my lecture. I thank Vedics Foundation for giving me this opportunity to address all of you, and I hope that their efforts and their murchi in this front and in all other activities that they are doing grow manyfold with the grace of Sri Ranganatha and Sri Ranganayakittaya, Sri Nammalvar, Swami Ramanuja and Swami Manavala Mamunigal, Alvar, Emberumanar, Jiyar, Tiruvadigalే Sharanam.